I'm going to show you how to make two different styles of the Suncatcher do-it-yourself kit. The first style will be filling the moon with your gemstones, and the second style will be doing an outline of your moon with your gemstones. First, we're going to talk about what's in the kit. So you have your moon, you have your wire, you have your gems. These ones are going to be red aventurine. And then you have your crystal pieces. You have jump rings. You have what are called crystal chandelier pins. They're kind of like what you would use on a keychain. You have your chain, little sun charm, your hanging piece. Everything you need for this do-it-yourself kit is in the box except for a pair of pliers. You will need a pair of pliers. Our first step is going to be unwrapping a little bit of our wire. We only need about maybe an inch, inch and a half. And whatever style you're going to do, this is going to start the same. You're going to take the wire and just thread it through a little bit of the moon. And then you're going to create what's called an anchor. To create that anchor, you're going to wrap your wire around your moon 5 times, trying to keep the spirals as close together and as tight as possible. And you can kind of slide and pinch them together. So we're going to do 5 of those. Once you have your 5, you can give it kind of a pull. It's going to tighten the coils for you. And then you're going to give it a clamp with your pliers when you have it in the place you want it. One good squeeze there. And then if you can, just a squeeze that way. That's going to help crimp it. You can also make sure that the tail is kind of flat as well. It may still move some, and that's okay. Once you get your gems on, it won't move as much. A main tip I would give is to keep your wire free of any large kinks. If you get any really bad kinks in it, you can use your pliers to try to flatten it out a little bit. I have threaded about 10 of my gems onto my wire, and I've pushed them all the way down. We're gonna try to mimic where we fill the moon first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drop one of these gems into that small crevice right beside where I put the anchor. Just like that. And in my other hand, I'm holding the rest of the gems. And I'm gonna thread it through the moon and pull the rest of the wire through to create just a small loop. Just like that. And then I'm going to drop a couple more to fill that larger space. While pulling the wire tight so that it's nice and taut. Took about 2 there, so I still have those in my hand. I'm just going to pull that wire back through, and you're kind of creating a zigzag with the wire, creating row after row of your gems, filling the space in the moon. So I'm going to drop maybe 2 more right there. Make it nice and full. And then kind of give it a tug so that it's nice and taut. And then I'm going to feed the wire back through. And still I'm being mindful of just kind of pulling it through and running my fingers over it to kind of keep out any crimps. And then I'm just going to keep filling my space and pull it through. Now I've run out of the beads that I have threaded, so I'll thread more and I'll continue to do that and go up the space. That's what it looks like so far. Dependent on the gems that you get, because we do them by like weight, you may not be able to fill the full moon, but you will be able to like go up as far as you can. So this is like super cute with how it's gonna have like a little open space here. The farther up you go, especially in this tight little crevice right here, you might have to thread one gem at a time as you're creating the little loops and the zigzags. So at the end, we're gonna start or end just like we started, and we're gonna give a 5 loop anchor. And then we're going to squeeze it together. You can always pull down on the wire to try to get it a little closer. And then once you have your 5, you can take your pliers. They should have wire cutters in the middle down here. And then you just try to cut as close to the moon as you can, just by squeezing and giving a little pull. Now you can see we have that tail, so I'm gonna take my pliers and I'm gonna give it just a squeeze and wrap. Oop. There we go. And then I'm gonna squeeze these together and then give it a clamp here. There we go. And you can manipulate this a little bit. So if you do want to spread it out some, you can always do that if yours just happen to not fill all the way. But look at that, so pretty. Just like with the first style, we're gonna have that 5-layer anchor. I've already crimped it and squeezed it. I've already threaded some of my gems. And for this style, what you'll do is you'll drop one of your gems, right on the outside or flush with the moon. It's the moon's shape, completely up to you. I kind of like it flush. And then you push the wire, creating a loop. Then you give it a nice tug, nice pull. And then you drop another, thread it back through to create that loop that's going to hold it in place. Drop another. Get it in place where you want it. Give it a loop and a tug. Drop the next one in line. Get it where you want it. Loop it. Tug it. Drop the next one in line. Get it where you want it. Loop it. Tug it. And you'll just continue to do that all the way around. When you get to the corner, it might seem intimidating, but you're literally just going to keep doing exactly what you're doing with the twisting, the loop. And then you can drop one right on the edge if you want. Pulling, making sure it's a little bit tight, giving it that pull, twist. Once you get back to the starting point with your original anchor, you can take your extra wire and make an additional anchor right beside it. So I'm gonna just weave this back up. And if your wire is getting short, it might be easier to use your pliers. And then once you have your 5, Your 5 loops. You can make it tight, give it a pull it down, squeeze everything together. Take those wire cutters, trim your tail, and then clamp the edge. And then you do have a little bit of manipulation you can do on here, just to kind of set them right where you want them. So I like to build the Suncatcher with all its components and then put it together. So you have one long piece of chain. To make it similar to the prototypes, we're going to use our wire cutters and our pliers to make 3 different lengths of this chain. So you can get out a ruler and use it and, you know, measure it and have them the way you want, but I'm gonna just do it this way. I know I want one longer. And when you're cutting it, you just want to try to make sure that you get one link. And you're just using that wire cutter in your pliers, squeezing and giving a little pull. Now, when we're connecting all of these, we have to be able to use either our jump rings or our chandelier pins. These crystal pieces are going to need the chandelier pins, but everything else we can use the jump rings. So I'm going to build from the bottom up, but first I need to cut these chains again, just so I can add my little charms on them in the middle. Now the jump rings that you have are going to be closed jump rings. And what that means is that they are closed. The best way to handle these is the side where the 2 ends join. Point that toward the ceiling. Use your pliers to grab the side. Keep it pointed to the ceiling. Instead of opening it like this, where we open it like that, we're actually going to open it by going to the side. I guess it's better. That's what it'll look like when you push it open instead of pull it open. You can just use that. And that's what it'll look like. So you'll just use the last link on your chain and weave that onto your jump ring. And then you will add one end of your little sun. You might hear a click. You might feel a pop when you press the jump ring back together. If you don't hear those things or feel those things, it's okay as long as there is no space between the 2 openings there. So we'll grab another jump ring, pop that open. Add that, a last link on our chain. And then instead of squeezing it, kind of push it back together, just like that. There we go. Now we have this. Next, we're gonna get that bottom piece we're gonna use and the chandelier pin. Now these are just like you would have like on a keychain. So you can just kind of use your fingernail to open it a little bit, and then you're just gonna thread one of the ends into the hole here. And then you'll take the end of your chain and then that last link and thread that on. Now where the ends join, I like to tuck those into right here so that it doesn't open up. All right, that piece is done. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this and that and put it all together. Now I'm gonna add all of my dangling bits with jump rings to the moon. You do want to keep in mind gravity. So for instance, if I'm going to hang this top piece here, gravity is going to pull the moon and it's going to sit right here at the top. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm adding all of these so they will kind of lay the way I want them to. Now this may be a little bit tricky just because you want to make sure to get the jump ring around the moon, but also keep your chain in place. So I'm going to come at it to where I come and kind of like dropping the moon into the jump ring, holding it steady, and then pinching it closed, waiting for that snap or pop. All right, so I know that as it hangs, it's going to hang like that. So that's going to determine a little bit where I'm going to put these pieces. I think I'll put one here, and then I need one of my wire pieces to catch the jump ring so it doesn't slide all the way down. Then we'll do one here and then one here. There you have it. Tag us on Instagram with your creation at Bare Hands Gifts. We want to see what you made with your bare hands.